YouTube, Joe Bassett here for Valiant Outfitters. Sorry that last week I didn't get a Wilderness Wednesday out. As most of you probably know, we had Hurricane Ian struck Florida. It was pretty devastating down in the southern part of the state. I'm in the northeast part of the state, and we were spared the worst of it. But spent most of last week either getting my own personal property and my own personal effects and affairs taken care of just in case we had some real trouble from it, but also spent a lot of time assisting with the amateur radio emergency services getting ready for the hurricane, and also working with Hurricane WatchNet and the Salvation Army Team Emergency Radio Network, trying to help them get hurricane reports in that would go to the National Hurricane Center, or looking for what's called health and welfare traffic coming out of the affected areas so that we could assist as necessary in getting people the help that they needed. If you'd like to help, I've worked with the Red Cross, and that's a great organization, but if you know me, my heart is with the Salvation Army. And I'm going to put a link down below where you can go to, and you can see how you can help either with gifts in kind or with finances to help those people that have been devastated by Hurricane Ian. Anytime you have a storm with high winds, whether it be just your Florida summer thunderstorms, or you have a hurricane or tropical storm come through, anytime you have those heavy winds come in, that's a time to get out and look for Fatwood. If you're not familiar with Fatwood, it's my favorite ignition source, tinder source for fire here in the south. If I were in the northeast, back up north, if you know me, you know my favorite is white birch bark. Boy, that stuff just lights up and burns really well and gets a fire going up right away. But down here in the southeast, it's Fatwood I'm looking for. We have a ton of it. And the way you find Fatwood is you look for old or dying pine trees where the branches attach to the trunk down near the bottom. All that sap, it's way up high in the tree, and when the tree dies, it all starts to come down because of gravity, and it collects either at the base of the tree or down where that branch attaches to the trunk. I found some just over here a little bit, and I'm going to show you what to look for when you found a tree that's been blown down by those high woods where you can find that Fatwood. So here we have a tree that fell. This one I think came down quite a bit before Hurricane Ian and the winds from that hurricane came through. But what I'm going to look for is an old pine tree that's fallen like this. And the way you can tell if the tree is going to have Fatwood is if it has quite a bit of rot on the outside. And you can do that just by kicking. And it's going to be really soft. And that stuff, that punk wood, is just going to break right away. But if you look here, after a while you get through all that punk or that rotted wood, and there's a hard piece right there. That is Fatwood. I've already scraped away a little bit of it. So here, if I just carve a little bit of that away, kind of like I'm making a feather stick. It's going to be a little soft. It's going to carve well. And already I can smell that turpentine smell that's in there. And what I can do is I can come to that, and I can saw through that with my saw, and I've already done that with a few pieces I'll show you here in a second, and get yourself some pieces of Fatwood. But as I said, if you pick that up and smell it, I wish that YouTube had smell-o-vision. But you smell that, and it's going to have that really strong turpentine smell to it. Let me show you how we use that. I've cleared here just a small fire lay. I'm not going to do a full-size fire for this demonstration. I'm just going to get it started to demonstrate. I call this an elevator fire lay. It's pretty common. Once I have my tinder going, and I have a piece of pine bark here where I'm going to process my Fatwood, get that tinder lit and get that tinder going, then I have my kindling ready to go. But once I put that kindling over the flame and it gets going, if I need to get oxygen in there, I can just grab this stick and lift the other two and get some oxygen flow underneath there. Here I have some of the Fatwood that I've processed, and I processed quite a good bit of it. Got it ready to go there. It has that smell to it that I described, that turpentine smell. So I can take this piece, and this is what I'm going to process down into my tinder, my lighting source. There are several ways that you can do this. I like to use the spine of my knife, and you can see that the back of my knife, I've already done this with some Fatwood out here. And I'm going to take the spine of it, and I just want to get sawdust off of there. What I'm looking for is a raised edge on this, and I'm just going to keep scraping that off and gathering as much sawdust as I can. Now, as I keep getting down in there and getting more and more sawdust out of there, you're going to see this nice amber color that's in here. That's the rosin that I'm after. That's what's going to light up and keep this burning so well to get my kindling started. After I have a decent pile, maybe a quarter size pile of those shavings from the back, I'm going to create some feathers, just like I'm making a feather stick. But I don't need these to stay on the Fatwood. They're just going to be a little bit bigger to help that fire get going well. And again, I'm aiming for that amber color. I carry a small Boy Scout Ferro rod on my keychain with me all the time. If I'm out particularly for bushcrafting or camping weekend, I'll have a full-size Ferro rod with me. And I always have a scraper on that, and I'm going to use that to get that Fatwood going. Now that's going to burn for a while, so I can take my time here. But let's get some of our kindling on there. And you can see how well that rosin is burning already. You can smell it. I love the smell of that. And then, of course, once that gets going, I can get my larger fuel wood on there. If I need to get a little oxygen in there, I can lift it up. But I'm good to go with that. This is Joe Bassett for Valiant Outfitters. Thanks for joining me for another Wilderness Wednesday. Hey, after a storm blows through, whether it's just a thunderstorm, a windstorm, it's a good time to get out and harvest that Fatwood. Find those trees that have fallen. Look for the pine trees that have a very soft wood on the outside, and get through that wood. If you find that hard center, chances are that's really good Fatwood, and you'll know for sure if you cut into it and you get that strong turpentine smell. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button or subscribe and hit that notification button so you never miss when I do another Wilderness Wednesday. Also, reminder, I'm going to have that link down there for you to donate to the Salvation Army to help them, help those people that have been devastated by Hurricane Ian. We'll see you back for another Wilderness Wednesday.